WolfPunch.
You just love spiders.
No, I hate bugs. I hate spiders.
So,
it's like
so that's the only reason that you would choose a
because
snake.
it'll be less painful.
Wait, just about what's cooler, going on finding a giant spider or a giant snake?
No, you're in this scenario. You were napping and you wake up and you're being eaten. There's no cool part.
Yeah, there's no.
Oh, spider.
Spider. Yeah. Okay.
So you can say okay to him.
Well, he knows how to get to me. He's got valid reasons.
So we were just talking about, would you rather be eaten by a giant snake or a giant spider? It didn't really make any sense to this movie that we're reviewing because we're reviewing the movie Bright, and this is WolfPunch. My name's Zane Parmiter. With me is Yezin, Kyle,
Yo,
Dan,
Howdy.
and Kemp, and we're talking about Bright. It is a movie set in a world where mythical creatures live side by side with humans. A human cop is forced to work with an orc to find a weapon everyone is prepared to kill for. Oh yeah, orc cop. He's an orc cop.
That's obnoxious. It's an orc cop.
Yeah, it's an
orc police officer.
Police officer cop buddy film starring Will Smith, Joel Edgerton, Noomi Rapace?
Doesn't matter.
Edgar Ramirez, Lucy Fry, a lot of other people.
Folks are in it.
Yeah, a lot of people are in it.
It's got Will Smith.
It does. That's the main person.
That's the reason anyone's going to watch it.
That's the reason this movie probably cost it $90 million to make. So,
from the director of the award-winning
the Academy Award-winning
Suicide Squad, and written by
Max Landis.
Everyone sounded so sad.
Everybody's voice just was so sad right there, and I feel bad for everybody listening. But anyway.
I feel bad for anybody watching.
Listening.
I'm in the movie.
Oh, right.
This will be a treat. This is the dessert after the shitty meal.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so, I will say Bright isn't as bad as people are saying. I'm going to go out and I'm going to say that. There have been, you look up Bright reviews online right now, and people are debating, is this the worst movie of the year? I don't think it's even close.
Well, critics are reviewing it poorly, but actually audiences are giving it pretty good scores.
Oh, shut up. Audience is also like Daddy's Home, too.
So you're saying it's the anti-Last Jedi?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is, essentially.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think audiences, a lot of them might have not been expecting it, and so they just flipped on Netflix one day and saw Will Smith next to a monster and been like, oh, this looks like a treat. I didn't even realize this came out in theaters. And little do they know, it never came out in theaters. It's straight to Netflix.
Okay, don't call him a monster. He's a person, too. You did not learn any lessons from that movie.
That's true. You didn't.
Fair. Racist.
That's true. So Kyle, how did you feel from the beginning of this movie?
At the beginning?
Or just the...
Okay, so I'll walk you through it. So I didn't want to watch the movie. I wanted to watch Uncle Buck. It was on TV earlier, and I was like, haven't seen this in a while.
Watching and reviewing this movie was your idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know what? Believe it or not all my ideas are good. So I started watching it, and for the first 20 minutes, I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. This is all right. This is fine. And then it got really boring.
Oh, yeah.
And it became a real fucking chore to watch. Where it was you're looking for any, I wish I watched it in a theater so that, I had to pay attention.
Yeah.
Because after a while, I was just, clipping my fingernails or, petting the cat. And, it was boring.
No, I hear you.
It gets really, really boring. And then it ends.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Watching it, I couldn't tell you, what the bad guy's motivation was for doing stuff. What the point of, the action in the scenes were, or when they were happening. Because I just, like you said, I was tuning out. It's things are happening, I don't care.
Well, even if you were tuned in, that's one they did not explain.
They were trying to bring back the Dark Lord.
Yeah, I got that.
I get that.
Let's hit the spoiler button right now.
Is that a spoiler?
No, it's not. It's
I'm
a
pretty
plot.
sure they say
It's
that
part
in
of
like
the
the
plot.
opening, like.
Oh yeah.
Also, if you are fucking listening to this podcast and you get mad about spoilers for the movie Bright, maybe turn this off right now and walk into traffic, because that's just, who gives a shit about Bright?
That's Kyle Miller telling all of our audience to go kill themselves.
Not all.
Not all of
It
them.
was just a suggestion.
Kyle does not represent the collective views of WolfPunch. Let's clarify that.
Yeah.
The thing that I hated at the very beginning of the story was, once again, Will Smith has a little kid, got another little kid that he's like, he's the morally right character because he has a child, and like,
That wasn't a problem.
no, it's not a problem, but it's like, it's such a trope. Well, that's the thing,
I
is it
don't-
like really didn't, but like,
I don't
it's,
want to compliment the movie, but he is kind of racist at the start of the.
well, and that's like the thing. He starts off really racist, but then in some scenes at the very beginning, he's like, he's not.
Yeah.
And then other times when he's with the orc, he's like, yeah, fuck you, dude. But then when he's like with everybody else, he's like, but he's cool, dude.
Well, he's like
cool.
he's like racist, but not murder racist.
Yeah.
Murder racist.
There we go.
He's like keep him out of my house racist, not
Yeah.
not like kill him.
Fairy lives don't matter today.
Yeah.
Right.
Tasteful
For
line.
example, when we say racist, something this movie does that like sort of shifts the race dynamic. All humans are the same race.
Yeah.
Orcs are sort of like the minorities, like not in terms of there's less of them, but they're like they represent the poor.
They're
people.
not super loved either.
No.
They're
And then-
rolling Lord of the Rings.
Elves are the one. Yeah, it's sort of implied that like it's almost like a 1,000, 2,000 years after the Lord of the Rings or something.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's like how I watched it.
Yeah.
So I'll say, the beginning of the movie is not near. It gets worse. So to start off, you start off with the scene that Will Smith got shot by an orc because his orc partner, who's the first orc cop ever, was getting a burrito. And when you say that,
burrito for him.
when you say that out loud, it's goddamn hilarious.
Yeah.
But not in a good way. It's what the fuck are you thinking, Max Landis? But so at first it's kind of plays out like a cop drama where he doesn't really trust his partner. He thought maybe he let the orc get away, and this is the first orc cop, and they have to let him be a cop because of our diversity initiative. But everyone's racist against him, and the question is, does the
They
honor
put kick me signs on his back.
Yeah, that was pretty on the nose.
What the hell was that? Really?
This movie is not
I
subtle.
do that at my job, so I can't say that
Kyle's a bully from the 1950s.
All right, not happy
Kyle's
about
Biff.
that. But, so the question is is this orc cop, can he obey the law, or is he going to put his orcness above? They call it clan law.
Yeah.
Above, which is
Police law.
above police law, which is it just sounds like some weird like a weird take on actual racist shit.
Super.
But then then it becomes about a magic wand, which can do anything.
Well, also, I think you forgot to mention that the entire department is against Joel Edgerton's orc character.
Yeah,
And that
they all hate him.
they're trying to get him kicked off the force the entire time.
The movie doesn't. One thing I will say the movie does well is it doesn't do a weird kind of prologue where they describe, this is the world and this is the way it is.
Yeah.
There's no monologue describing the world. It kind of just show us the world. Although I don't know so much as the world kind of seems like it's trying to do some kind of racial commentary
At the very beginning.
Yeah, and I don't know that they really understood what they're doing because they made the orcs are black, and let's just say the orcs are black people and Latino people.
Yeah.
They are ghetto, and it's not just about being poor because even the wealthy orcs dress and act and the way they dress is supposed to be modeled after black. The only thing they don't do is they don't make them talk they don't make them talk in any kind of accent.
Sure, yeah.
Or anything like that. But then humans are there, and it's not clear what they are, but orcs are like the rich,
elves
are like the rich 1%.
Which thank God for that, because when you watch Lord of the Rings, you're like, who is more racist and entitled and snobby than the fucking elves?
But again, it doesn't totally make sense. Is that even though they're the rich people and they're the ruling class, Elvish isn't the main language, and if they were the ruling class, Elvish would be the language everyone spoke. Instead, everyone speaks English.
He's not wrong there.
Lord of the Rings, those elves.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure Will Smith's not going to speak Elvish in this.
That motherfucker ain't learning another language, a made-up language.
We're gonna get this later, but I legitimately think that a big problem with the movie was the inclusion of Elvish as a language.
Yeah,
it should have just been English
any of the languages.
It comes problematic later. Anyway, I mean, but I will say, like, something that we're gonna get into, I think, is that the movie opens introducing one movie and then another movie kind of sideswipes it, and it becomes this magic wand chase movie. And I think that the first movie they set up, though not good, is more interesting. Like, I wanted to see more of Elf Town. Like, Elf Town is where all the it's almost like a downtown, not even downtown Manhattan. It's like London. It's like Chicago. Like the bougie part of Chicago. It's like a really
Don't say bougie.
I'm gonna say bougie. It never. We never go back there. They show it once, and we never really go back there. And it's like, all right, well, I want to see more.
Well,
of
that's
this.
for the next Bright. That's Bright 2. Too bright. I'm sorry.
Too bright.
For the record,
Is it called Light Bright?
they have greenlit a sequel to this movie.
That's true. They have. Yeah.
What?
There's going to be a Bright 2.
Oh.
Kyle is clearly happy.
I'm okay with that.
Of course you are.
Because I want to know more about
You're
this
addicted to crap.
He's a crap addict.
And there was enough there to make it interesting.
Oh, you had to stop drinking from your mug to get crap addict out. Beautiful. Sorry.
Love you guys.
Anyway, so, I mean, without getting too much into the rate, I feel like there's probably something weirdly insensitive about the way certain, like, orcs, which are, ugly and, like, kind of in Tolkien, they're subhuman, are sort of likened to...
Oh, yeah.
It would be one thing to liken them to poor people, but then to take the culture of actual minorities in the world and give them to the orcs.
Bold.
Yeah.
Kind of... The thing is, though, it could have been more racist. Like, I will say that. Like, it could have. That was something I was really worried. That's something I was really worried. No. I didn't want it to be like I was worried about how far they would take that, and they didn't take it as far as they could have. But it was
the whole movie, like, everything's like half done.
Yeah.
That's a good way to describe it, right? It's half done.
Yeah.
Something that like they didn't shine any light on though was when they pull up to the cops beating the orc on the car.
Yeah.
And Will Smith's like, I need to know if you're an orc or if you're a cop. I need to know if you're an orc or a cop. There's like a minotaur there, just like
I didn't see that. I was like twice.
And I'm like,
in the background.
So wait, where the fuck did the minotaurs come in? Like, are there giants running around?
Are there hobbits just like
there's a dragon? They want to see the dragon?
There's a dragon?
I want to see the dragon flying in the background.
No, I didn't see that either.
And also, there's like a bunch of like.
How is that safe for anyone?
I'll bet this movie is amazing to watch for us. The Dan way of watching movies.
I bet it was really boring drunk. I bet I would be on Facebook the whole time I'm watching it.
Were you on Facebook?
I was a good portion, like at the halfway point. I was just like,
I was having bags for that for a while. I got pretty bad.
Another thing that was like kind of killing me, going back to Will Smith's character and like his whole like, I don't know, teeter-tottering of like, should I get this guy kicked off the force or should I be his partner? Like, that whole storyline, how many times did the people that were trying to convince him to get the guy kicked off the force, how many times did they say, you need this job, man. You need this job for your little girl, man. Like, you need this job for your wife, man. It was like, you said it twice, I'm good. Like, the internal affairs guys coming up and saying that, it's like, why do we need to keep bringing that up?
Yeah, I couldn't tell how funny this movie was supposed to be. Because you have like the guy from Mad TV.
Yeah.
Like,
Wes was the director. He was in Suicide Squad.
He was like the goon guy in Suicide Squad.
Right.
So every time he's like, orcs are pieces of shit. What if one of us would die? I'm like, is this supposed to be funny? Because he's just kind of funny.
I know, because I'm not invested in this world enough for this argument to be okay.
Yeah, and like his whole bit of like, so we're gonna fucking murder the orc now. We're gonna steal the wand. That was all hilarious to me.
That whole scene. I mean, that was legit. That I was like, oh, whoa, what the fuck? Like they're turning on this whole thing, and I didn't like see the wand becoming like a thing of like people would lust after it and like want it to, I don't know,
kind of like a ring.
It's like, yeah, kind of like a weird
it's like
ring.
the ring, but it actually does shit.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa.
Hey, you turn invisible. Come on.
Well, except
You can see the fucking eye, man. It's great.
So they want to see that.
So
That's the selling point.
Yeah, what we're trying to say, this movie is Lord of the Rings meets Training Day, but the bad versions of both.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd rather watch either movie.
So
There's literally a scene that's like straight out of Training Day.
there are
like,
scenes.
multiple scenes, but like like towards, I mean, this is a minor spoiler because it like retcons itself in the movie, but minor spoiler for Training Day as well. But that movie's like 15 years old, so who cares? Like Ethan Hawke is about to get killed in the bathtub by some gangsters, and then it turns out he saved someone earlier in the movie, and they come and they find out about it. And
That part,
but it doesn't pay off in this at all.
That drove me nuts. I was like, why introduce that?
Right.
If like the guy's still going to kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
They get captured by some orcs, and they end up. The same thing happens to Joel Edgerton's character. You save a character early on, they come back and like, no, I can't do it. I can't kill him. So it was like, okay, and then the other orc just shoots him anyways.
Yeah, he's like, you need to leave, son.
So like, why didn't he just like? Why didn't he tell his son to leave?
That was
just
pointless
put the gun
because
and
they
kill
just
him.
pull out the wand and just retcon it. Right.
Yeah.
By they pull up the wand. The third character, which we haven't mentioned.
No, he was talking about Training Day when they.
All right, so aside from Joel Edgerton as Jacoby, the orc, and Will Smith as Ward, the human cop, there's a third character who is Tika, which is an elf that
she's basically Agatha from Minority Report.
Tell me a lot about her character.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you a single thing.
Yeah, there we go. So there's
Oh, they did that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
the elf who's taken the wand from Layla, which is like the
Girlfriend from
coven leader elf.
Elizabeth Salander, the girl with the dragon tattoo. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing I mentioned earlier, the problem with introducing Elvish is I feel like the only reason they made Elvish a language was so that Tika could be like dead weight the whole movie.
Sure, yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's like, well, they're doing a cop drama between these two guys, but for some reason they had to have this girl be with them.
Sure.
Even though, yet they didn't want her to do anything. Or assert herself in any way.
Or even explain anything to the audience until they were ready for her to speak English.
Yeah, so she sort of just like walks around with them like a mentally handicapped person.
That's why
like she and you can see her in the background just making weird faces and reacting weird to shit. Like I don't get it. Like sometimes like you're watching and you wonder, oh wait, is she like not from Earth? Is she not from Earth? Like, why does she think everything is fascinating? Are we ever going to explain that? Like, no, she's just there freaking out in the background all the time.
There was a scene where, like, Will Smith and Joel Edgerton are having a, like, kind of deep conversation for the context of the film, and she's in the back playing with a fucking hand dryer the entire time, like, just, like, doing, like, putting her hand up to where the air blows out and just like moving her fingers around.
I remember seeing that. Like,
and I was like,
this is off. Is this going to come through? And then no.
Like, is she going to turn it on and like scare everybody or something? No, nothing happened.
She's depicted as, I don't want to say retarded. She's depicted as a special needs person.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
But she's not. She just speaks a foreign language, which is even more insulting.
No,
but then
she was all doped up on magic.
But then later you find out that actually she speaks English, and she was waiting to trust them, even though she should have trusted them a long time before that.
So, well, when they find her, she like has the wand or whatever, and anybody that has the wand is, I don't know, a Bright, and like
Right, well, no, but the thing is, apparently only so few people are able to use the wand, and people can use the wand are Brights.
Okay,
It's like a 1 in a million thing.
So one quick question. I don't know because I'm not a loser, but is bright like a previously established term, or is that only in this movie?
I think it's only in this movie.
Okay, because that's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea is that
because the wand glows.
I think the idea is that magic wands are just so powerful, and like only so few people can use. But so the thing,
I understand that. I mean, the name, like, you're a bright. It's like we don't want to say wizard.
Yeah.
That's I'm okay with that. I guess my question is, if she's a bright, why couldn't she just solve all the problems?
Right? Because
the whole
she's
time.
still
Here's the
training.
thing,
That's exactly. That's a weird.
Can we? Okay, let's just spoiler this whole thing. Will Smith is fucking bright. All right, he's a goddamn bright.
Not that bright.
And, yeah, you picked the script. He's not that bright. Anyway, no, he's a fucking bright. And the whole thing is that she can't stop this woman because she's only training. Will Smith picks up the fucking wand, finds out he's bright, has enough time to do that.
And go,
And then just like stare at the girl and blow her up and not kill anybody else in the fucking room.
Well, it did kill Tika, didn't it?
No, because she was at the very end of the movie.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now we didn't watch it. Come on.
God, it like, okay, that's the big spoiler of the fucking movie right there, guys.
Yeah.
And again, if you're mad about this spoiler, see the trailer.
But so yeah, that's the whole movie. You're sort of wondering, like, hey, if Tika's a bright, because obviously she is, because obviously she's the one that fucked up those people that came to get her at the beginning. Why isn't she using the magic wand to get them out of trouble? Because it should be able to do anything. So
she waits for the orc to get shot.
all the problems. So she doesn't do anything with the wand until the orc gets shot, and then she uses it to resurrect the orc.
But then she gets like infected.
And she gets, like,
that didn't get
infected.
Explained at all.
Well, I think
But it also goes away.
yeah.
You gotta put her in the pool
Yeah.
to wash off the black.
But I'm wondering if like
Prometheus.
it's a deleted scene or something about like explaining like, oh, she like saved his life, so like her life is draining
I'm
from her or
assuming
something
that
like
that's-
that.
they deleted it.
It definitely should have been explained.
The
I'm
point
saying,
of the
I'm
magic
trying to-
wand was that it could do anything. So if there's a cost to
Sure.
everything, then it really can't do anything.
Yeah. But, okay, so I think Max Landis thought he was really fucking clever for bringing up the whole idea of this prophecy or whatever, and how the guy that they pick, like Will Smith and Joel Edgerton, pick up at the beginning of the movie, and he, like, talks, orcish to Joel Edgerton and tells him about, like, the prophecy and how your partner's blessed. Like, I thought that Max Landis was, like, being clever and, like, saying, or he thinks that he was being clever by doing that, putting the prophecy on the orc, but actually Will Smith was the bride. Like the entire time, I think he was thinking that people would think that the orc was the bride.
I'm going to come to Max Landis' defense here real quick, actually, and say that I think that Max Landis probably wrote the movie different, and then Will Smith, as probably part of the deal to be in the movie, insisted, so who's the bad guy? Well, Layla's the bad guy. Well, if I don't beat Layla, I'm not doing the movie.
Exactly.
So they sort of wrote the Will Smith being a bright at the end in for Will
bold
Smith.
accusation. I wonder at what point Will Smith joined this. I would like to look up how the script was originally written. Either way, I mean, it's still not that great. Why defend Max Landis?
Yeah, we're gonna shit on Max Landis, but
Max Landis, if you're listening to this, we are going to shit on your body. Physically.
I think that's...
Kyle does not
Assault.
Is that a silly?
It's a
is it a
movie.
running thing at the podcast? You threaten someone.
It has become a recurring thing.
It really has.
Okay,
Luckily, no one listens to this.
but yeah, I do think that. So at the end, it's like the big twist at the very end. Joel Edgerton's Orc Jacoby, he shoots the wand out of the villain Layla's hand, and it falls on the ground. And then he has another bullet, and then Will Smith's like, "All right, finish the job." And then he's out of bullets. And then it's shot like the end of Suicide Squad, honestly.
Yeah, it kind of
It
is.
starts to feel more like Suicide Squad than anything else in the movie right there at the end. And then they're kind of like yelling at each other in like the time it could take for the villain to easily just go over and pick up the wand. And then Will Smith picks up the wand and it doesn't kill him, which is what it does to non-brights. Then he finds out, oh my gosh, he's a bright. The problem with that is that being a bright actually has nothing to do with his arc as a character. His arc as a character is all about trusting his partner and being a good partner. It has nothing to do with whether or not he has magical powers.
Watch we find out in the sequel he was born an elf. Or like he's half elf or something. It's like a real Star-Lord situation where he's like half human, half fucking galaxy planet eater or whatever.
Humans can be brights, just a small.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, pay attention.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Didn't you pay attention to Bright?
but yeah, that's basically the ending of the movie, and it's
Also, is anyone worse at the use of slow motion than David Ayer? Because
so bad.
he's not good.
Although I will say, when Will Smith turned around and was like popping all
gonna
those
say,
people, I was like, that's kind of
God,
cool.
that's pretty cool.
Oh my God, no!
Maybe
No!
I was just excited to see Will Smith blow away some cops.
That's true.
I think that's probably better than the technical
Phrasing.
That was funny.
That looked like the way they were No.
The way they were
Not
falling
good.
was goofy because
Sure.
it seemed like they all fell right away before he was done shooting. Like if you look, the last one in the row is already falling by the time before
Maybe
he's
shot him
done all
twice.
his shots.
It wasn't good. Also, the car wreck, the slow motion car wreck. Just stop doing it, David Ayer. If you're listening to this podcast, please stop using slow motion in your movies.
well, David Ayer is just like after Suicide Squad. Like this guy is sort of like he does this thing where whenever he gets bad reviews. I mean, and I don't agree with the review that it's the worst movie of the year, but he does this thing whenever he gets a bad review. He's like, oh, I eat this shit up. It's no problem for me. It's like, it should be.
Yeah, you should be able to take criticism.
I made Suicide Squad because I wanted to disappoint you.
But no, that's like the attitude he's taking, and it's annoying because you want to believe that people who consistently fail at making movies, there's some kind of consequence to that, but apparently there isn't anymore.
Here's the thing, like, I went into Suicide Squad kind of excited because it's like, oh man, End of Watch was pretty damn good. I actually really liked Fury, man. Like, Shia LaBeouf watched horses die for like 2 months straight to get in character for that role.
Yeah.
Insane. He converted to Christianity for that role.
Wow.
It was nuts, and he was in it for like 3 minutes total. But no, I actually really enjoyed those two films. So I was like, oh hey, Suicide Squad, studio meddling, whatever. Maybe this would no, Bright is just the Will Smith vehicle that I don't want to see, and even trying to like contextualize it, like put it on the spectrum of how I enjoy it. Like, well, am I going to view this as I would like a movie I paid to see at the movie theater, or is this going to kind of just be like a Netflix thing? And even then, I was like,
No.
No.
I would.
Michael.
I didn't.
Michael.
I mean, like,
Well, what did you like about it?
yeah.
Yeah, what did you
It was
like?
mostly the first half. I really liked the whole cop, like, drama part of it. I really, like, once the wand showed up, like,
Was
that's
most
kind of where I
really
like,
happy.
That's the second half.
Second half, Michael, fuck, this movie is like 2 hours long.
I watched it
Like
the first
45
half,
minutes before the wand.
Mm.
and then I had to take a break, and literally, like, I stopped at the halfway mark, and that was right when all the wand stuff was happening.
Is that right?
I have no
Doesn't
idea.
sound right,
You're looking
but
at me
It
like I
doesn't
know.
sound right, but I did not check the running of this movie as often.
Maybe the time just slows down.
That's what it was. Caesar Magic Wand can do anything.
But I liked all the, like, just like the dynamic of like, oh, we have like fantasy elements with a cop drama. That stuff was really working for me. It was just like it fell apart. It was in the wand stuff worked too. It fell apart was that all the world was half built. Like they were like, oh, this would be a cool idea and this would be a cool idea, but then they didn't fully flesh them out. They just put them in.
Yeah, it doesn't really fully flesh out anything.
Yeah, lots of it is very much at odds with each other.
But I'm like kind of cherry picking like the things that are working, like the cop stuff, and like I like the themes that they're trying to deal with. So like I enjoyed it. Like it was an enjoyable movie for me. Like there were like it was mediocre, probably like all in all, but I enjoyed watching it.
So going into this movie, I was kind of thinking like, to me, it was almost going to be like my verdict on Max Landis. Because, I was introduced to Max Landis with Death and Return of Superman. I thought that was actually really good. Like,
So it's the best thing he's done.
a really good commentary. And then, Chronicle is not so bad.
Chronicles are
I enjoyed it.
American Ultra is a little bit
I'm out on that.
I'm the only person that likes that movie, I think.
You're an idiot.
But since then he's made like a lot of like weird.
Mr. Right, Victor Frankenstein,
Yeah.
just piles of shit.
So
Mr. Right.
I went into this thinking like,
Good Lord.
what is like now that let's kind of make a decision. What is Max Landis? And I really think that Max Landis should really just write for the CW.
No, you're not wrong.
When it comes down to it, I think that's really what he is. He's like, you write movies for teenagers. Is really what and I just like movies like that only teenagers would enjoy. The younger the teenagers aren't going to get it, and older than teenagers like this is dumb.
Like this movie was for the subreddit. I'm 14 and this is deep.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Like because he can only do so much depth, and he everything is like
Everything has to be very, like, goofy and, like, jokes that just aren't quite funny to you.
The humor in this was just
Humor's bad.
awful.
No, I think the biggest issue with Max Landis for me is he thinks he's so much more clever than he actually is, and like the movies just kind of rub it in your face every time.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was saying.
Plus, I think that, like, because my first real introduction to him was the Death and Return of Superman video, which I've watched, like, 40 fucking times. I really like it. It's like, it's a very funny critique of goofy-ass storytelling in, like, comic books. So it always gives me the impression, so this guy who's making fun of, like, ridiculous shit is going to be, like, a little higher brow.
Sure.
But isn't.
barely.
Yeah. Like,
He doesn't. Excuse me. He just doesn't like destroy Superman every time he makes a movie. That's it.
Yeah.
That's like that. That's his bar. Like, did I ruin Superman with this movie? No. Good. It's a good movie. Like that's what he's doing. Like,
I don't know. If they would have killed Superman in American Ultra, I think I would have liked it a little bit.
I guess what I'm saying with this one is that it all just feels really like, what if, guys? What if cop drama but orcs?
Yeah.
It's like,
Okay, that's exactly why this movie like gets such a pass. The entire time I was watching it, I thought, this is an interesting like concept. It's fun. I could see why a lot of people would like this concept.
Sure.
But I think that like that was it. And like the script feels like a first draft that should have been embellished on. People were like, well, the idea is clever, and it's like, I can't, aside from Michael, who, God help you, I can't think of, like, who this movie doesn't disappoint. Because, like, if you're watching and you're like, oh, well, I like a good, fun cop drama, it's like, that's going to be a big letdown.
I'll tell you who this movie doesn't disappoint.
Tell me.
People that think Christopher Nolan movies are too complex.
There we go.
If you've never seen a Paul Thomas Anderson movie before, if Christopher Nolan is confusing to you,
There's not enough explosions in this.
really like the Fast and the Furious franchise.
There are Shrek jokes in this, though.
Oh, thank you. How does Shrek exist in this universe?
That's, I think, the biggest problem.
Wouldn't that be like a super
That's super racially charged in this universe. Are you kidding
Did they
me?
have a derogatory word for orcs in this film, or any of
First of
those?
all,
I don't remember.
Shrek is an ogre.
Yes.
Shrek is an ogre, but if you were an ogre, I
You're
just
telling
don't
me
know, man.
you're telling me there are no ogres in this
yeah,
universe?
that's confusing. Is that like so there are orcs but no ogres in this universe?
Why would DreamWorks make a movie deconstructing fairy tales when fairy tales are like fucking real life in this
Exactly,
universe?
right?
Unsubscribe.
It doesn't make any
It's
goddamn
bad.
sense.
That was
Well, I think
definitely.
the major
I
problem with
noticed
this
that.
movie is that they built this world, but then it's like they say like what 2,000 years or whatever ago, like there was this big war and the orcs lost.
Yeah.
And that sounds super interesting, but the world looks like if you went
Read your
outside
Bible,
today,
Michael. It's all in there.
Here's what if you went outside today, it looks exactly the same, just there's orcs.
Yeah,
There's no technological differences really.
I'm okay with all that. I just
God said, "Let there be bright."
Yeah.
Going to hell. Anyway.
the movie opens with that weird like proverb thing or whatever.
Trigger happy or trigger entertainment.
Oh yeah, but there's like a
what the
proverb
fuck?
before it.
It's like no. There's like a weird. It opens.
Yeah, no, I missed that the first time, and
Yeah.
I rewound to watch it, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck?"
It
It's
says
a
like
made up like it's a made up quote that has no depth to
I
anything.
know, but and they don't even reference like what book it's from or
No,
anything.
Was it like the Dark One or something, or the Dark Lord was like?
Well, I know they reference him a lot, but they don't reference where that fucking quote is
I
from.
don't
or where
care
the
where
prophecy is
I don't care where it's from. What's annoying about it is that it's not like it's not a lesson that the movie teaches us as an audience.
Yeah.
It's just
exposition that's already in the
exposition
movie.
that's going to come later.
Yeah.
Like it's in like only so many people is special enough to be a bride. It's like, oh, okay. Is that like for us? Like, no, just about the movie. Like, oh, okay.
So they're going to say that in the movie? No, they'll say that like 11 times in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, but it just Max Landis sort of has like I think he thinks that if I can have like a clever idea, that's it. Well, it's like he doesn't. He's not taking those ideas and developing. I think he thinks that he's better than someone who would just go and write a really good cop drama.
Sure.
He thinks. I think he's above. He thinks that he's above that when really it's like, well, it's cool that you came up with like a unique idea, like a unique skin to put on the cop drama, but you still need to write a better cop drama.
Yeah.
Or you still need to write like a better. I mean, what's the Juan story? Fantasy. Not even like. It's kind of like a chase, not chase, but it's kind of a.
What are you trying to say?
We'll just say cop drama. He's like, make it if you can cop drama with orcs, but make it a better cop drama with orcs. You can't just be like.
I don't know. I would like to see him write and direct the movie.
Sure.
Just have like a complete vision of like his work. Did he?
I could be wrong.
Bullshit.
Well, I know he's talked a lot about like the writing process and how a lot of things get changed along the way.
He has
He'll
talked
sell
about
a
that.
script and it'll be like maybe like 60% of what he actually wrote is in the final product.
Well, I mean, they always say a movie's made 3 times or
Writing, filming, editing. Yeah.
So
maybe we're being too hard on him, but I don't think so.
But
no, I think it would have been bad if you gave it to anybody. Well,
probably, yeah.
If they had to film the scripts, I don't think Spielberg would say
Okay,
that.
so I have a question, and it's been bugging me since we started talking about this because it was one of my favorite parts of the movie, and not for a good reason. Close to the end, Joel Edgerton gets this bomb, right? Will Smith hands him a bomb, and he says, "What do you like? What am I going to need this for?" or something like that. And Will Smith's like, "You never know." And then he throws it to some henchman that is following around the bad guy or whatever, and he turns to Will Smith and says, "I gave her the bomb." And then he says, "You never know." And then Will Smith pulls out a phone and he says, "Swipe left." It was like Will Smith couldn't pick between 2 like badass lines. And he was like, "Fuck it, let's use them both." And like, what the fuck was the swipe left Tinder reference about? That made no goddamn sense. And like,
I never used
is it because she was a woman?
Maybe.
It's like when she's actually like a mildly attractive. She's actually like a pretty attractive woman, but I'm not into her. Swipe left, like
but like
good
Because she was an elf.
Yeah, or racist. But like. I mean, which one was in the script, do you think? Which one do you think was in the script?
It reminds me of like, whenever you watch The Simpsons, they have like the McBain bits where they're making fun of Schwarzenegger, and there's just as many like puns and bad line deliveries. Like,
it's like the 100th episode of Sunny where Mac.
Is
the martial arts badass.
Say cheese.
Cool.
Will Smith just shows up with like a quota of things that have to happen in the movie. It's like, I gotta be the hero. I have to be super special. I have to have all of these one-liners.
I have to have a daughter.
Yeah, he's definitely.
I've got to call someone Shrek. I mean, come on, guys, look at him. I don't even know what else he went, but
the makeup did look good. I will say.
It did.
And weirdly, they didn't credit like all the makeup artists in their,
which is terrible. But I guess it happens all the time. So it's
bright, idiot.
What was it? I actually really like Joel Edgerton for once.
I did too. I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
Once in your life.
I haven't seen Loving or what was the other one? I can't remember.
The Gift. He's good in The Gift. He's a fine actor.
I haven't seen The Gift.
He's the best actor in the movie.
I used to hate him just because he was like Diet Kurt Russell in the Thing prequel, and so I had like a chip on my shoulder because Kurt Russell is WolfPunch's official favorite actor.
Absolutely not.
How does that represent the collective thoughts of
Owen Wilson? What did I go overboard?
Speaking of
shut up.
Not the right time, guys.
I'm about to have a breakdown.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even know.
That's another Kurt Russell movie. I'm just,
Backdraft.
slinging jokes.
Backdraft.
It's not Not quite as nuanced, but I get what you're doing.
His career wasn't death proof.
Oh. Put that on his tombstone.
Oh God damn it! Let's get on this.
Let's just do the thing.
Oh my God!
Last one. Sorry. Okay.
I hate everything.
Kurt Russell.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Okay.
You are
say the
bad
thing,
at puns.
Say the thing about the movie, The Bright.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
No, he was saying, because we were talking about Joel Edgerton, and I was like, you don't like the man. You have like a weird collective of actors that you just hate.
I do. It's
and
weird.
Joel Edgerton is good. Granted, didn't like him in The Thing, as I previously made mention.
Yeah,
That started a whole tangent that I think Michael went down. And then I also didn't care for him in Black Mass.
Fuck that movie.
Not good.
Just a bad movie. WolfPunch review coming later on.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's
Don't
not.
want to watch
Fuck
it
that movie.
again. But I think Joel Edgerton's good.
Yeah,
And he was good in this movie.
I didn't think Will Smith was that bad either.
And I hope he had a Merry Christmas.
Will Smith felt like he was like a rated R version of his character in Men in Black.
Yeah,
I can
Will
see
Smith
that,
felt
yeah.
like Will Smith doing Will Smith in anything he's
And
attached
that's
to.
But without as good of a writer as he usually
Yeah,
is. Because
yeah.
he's just not as funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that one thing about Will Smith, why, like, with Joel Edgerton, like, I mean, it's not just about performance, I think. Joel Edgerton's also the best written character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
He
true.
has the most
For sure.
But also
Yeah,
performance.
he's the character. He's the character. He's the special thing. He
should have
the
been.
cop. But he should have been. But
He just wasn't that bright.
he's the orc. God damn it. He's the orc cop. He's like the thing that's different. He's the guy who's trying to prove himself. He's the one who has the most going on. Will Smith, like, my contract just kind of feels like a letdown. Because every time Will Smith is in a movie, you're reminded about the fact that Will Smith used to be like sort of the big man on campus. He used to be like this great, and now he's only ever like a disappointment in disappointments.
But I think the reason is because he's got the same kind of Adam Sandler mentality of like, these movies got me famous, I better keep doing them, instead of like growing up and like doing more nuanced films or something, or like, because he is talented and he's proved that he can be
actor,
like really good in a movie.
Was Men in Black 3 good? I heard it was. I didn't see it.
It's
a movie.
whatever.
It's a movie.
It exists.
But no, I agree. The comparison to Adam Sandler is pretty warranted, though he's not quite as bad as the Beast. But
I mean, if he released a single called Bright with this movie, I don't know what I would have. I probably would have listened to
Oh,
it.
yeah, you could have bought
I would have I would have listened to it, but
But you wouldn't
damn
get
it,
jiggy with it.
I would not have. God fucking damn it, Kyle. Yep, you're right.
I got a book of puns for Christmas.
Yeah, Jesus, I thought so.
a book of puns about the movie.
About the movie, right. And all the
And
Kurt
Kurt
Russell sites.
Good Lord. So, Kim, I take it you would recommend this movie.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's a good film. It's a good ride.
It's a good ride. It's a good ride.
It's fine.
Pretty lackluster.
It's
review.
entertaining. It's entertaining. It's
Like the first
especially
15
to the
minutes.
second one coming out. I think they have a building blocks there. Here's the thing. This is not a compliment by any means, but as a comic book fan, it reminded me of back in the day. I would read like online comics where it's like clearly people who just wanted to put something out there with no writing experience.
So
And just,
WolfPunch.
like,
No, just kidding.
yeah, and they just like put all the ideas down on paper, and then like over years of making this comic, it eventually becomes this big like
Sure.
nuanced thing.
Okay.
I can see Bright being that. Like, here's a bunch of ideas, and there's some things that are working, and
Sure.
definitely some things that aren't. But if they keep making it, and that's why I think it might have worked better as a TV show, because like over time, I think they could refine some of these things, and it could be really good. Because there's definitely a lot of things I liked about
Good luck getting Will Smith for a TV show.
it. Yeah, right.
Quincy Jones did. I don't think he made that show. Fresh Prince. I don't know.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Galaxy Far, Far Away.
Jesus.
Shut up.
How about you, Dan?
I mean, if you just really want to like relive some Will Smith nostalgia by not watching like a good Will Smith movie again,
Okay.
you know,
If there are no other Will Smith movies on Netflix.
yeah, if Netflix just like nukes all of Will Smith movies, but for me, I was just bored. Like, I mean, there are ideas behind it that they could possibly, build upon and stuff. But like, just from the beginning, the premise, it was really hard to get invested in it. It's just like compounds towards the end when it gets more hard fantasy, just stuff happening. Like, especially when it's like you have these elves with machine guns and like SUVs shooting up supermarkets, but they're still like backflipping and doing all these Superman stuff.
Parkour.
And it's just like, I'm just watching this and I'm like,
Those parkour assholes, I
like,
understand them.
oh man, that's just when I'm just like, I just really started checking out the film and just was bored. And
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the Magic FBI.
Okay.
What the hell?
Oh yeah, John Goodman and the elf like walking around.
Right. That was another thing I meant to ask because they maybe just wasn't paying any attention. Did they actually do anything the entire film?
Nope.
No, that blew my mind. I was like, they're gonna certainly be bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that the last act, because Layla was so underwhelming.
Yeah.
I thought that the last act, like they were going to give that other very dark, very evil-looking elf.
That's in all the trailers because he looks dark and evil.
Yeah, he always is a
And
bad
he
guy.
was going to be like, and I have the other two. Now I'm going to summon the Dark Lord, and then it was going to be that.
Yeah, and he hangs out with Ginger Hagrid, and like these guys are gonna fucking fight some shit later. Nah,
That's basically my opinion of the movie in a nutshell. It's like was I just not paying attention, or did that just not have a point? And it just didn't have a point.
Just did not have a point. How about you, Kyle?
would I recommend the movie Bright?
Yes, would you?
No, and I would also like to humbly apologize for posting the trailer to this on WolfPunch's page and suggesting that people watch in order to listen to this podcast. I am very sorry. I did not mean to advocate for this movie, and I did. So I hope you listen to this, and I hope you like this podcast, because we're good. Which Bright wasn't. Yes?
Isn't.
No, I don't recommend this movie. Here's the thing: like, if you've gotten to a point where if you haven't watched it already, you've gotten to a point where you're listening to me and asking me, and the answer is no. You don't need to watch it if you're not doing it already. It's not bad enough that it's interesting. It's not
fun bad.
It's not fun bad. It's not nothing. Just nothing stands out. It's not fun bad. It's not like none of like the weird things you think could be super crazy are super crazy. Like the weird race stuff is bad, but like not so much so that you have to see
Not
it.
enough that Tumblr is getting upset about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know. But it's not, to me, it's like it's not so bad that you have to see it. The weird like magic stuff. Honestly, like even the premise of doing like a cop drama in a magic world, they actually don't do enough with that.
That's what I meant when I was saying, like, I can't imagine who this movie wouldn't disappoint.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because that's the thing. It's like, no matter what, you're going to be disappointed unless you're Michael Camp. There's just not enough in any direction. So don't bother. Watch something else.
Like, I could see my mom, like, at home cooking dinner or something, like, every 5 minutes coming in, glancing at the screen, seeing, like, Will Smith say a one-liner or something, or, like, an action scene, like, oh. And then, like, afterwards, be like, yeah, I saw Bright. It wasn't so bad. But that would be, like, the only context I
Mom
could
reviews.
someone would say that.
I mean, like,
WolfPunch Mom Edition.
every
All of our
character...
mothers come in.
That'd be weird.
They record an episode instead of us.
Every character is just a huge letdown, like, from Will Smith to, like, the villains to, like, I don't know, like, and then I mean, we've touched on it, but I really have to just emphasize, they have the third character, like the third member of the trio,
Agatha.
Tika, is just one of the most bafflingly bad additions to a movie. Is that they decide like, well, we want this character to be there, but we don't want them to do anything or be anything.
I can agree with
And then and that kind of like, that's also kind of a summary for the movie. Like, we want it to be there, we want it to do anything or be anything.
I am shocked that they spent $90 million on this. I feel like most of it went to Will Smith. I hope so.
Because if that went to the production, I don't see it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The makeup
was good. The makeup was
The
good.
J.J. Abrams filter when the wand showed up was great.
Oh yeah, that was a nice touch too. Yeah, I would not really recommend this to anybody. I'm sure lots of people will watch it though, and there will be a lot of people that will like it. that no, there are people that like bad shit on Netflix, guys. I mean, he's sitting right to my right.
I feel like
people are gonna like it. I just don't want them to like it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want.
Oh, you don't want them to like it.
Listen to this first, and we'll tell you.
Watch better. It's like watch better movies. You know what I mean?
A part of me almost wishes this would come out in theaters just so we could like listen to like all the bad press and how it just bombed horribly at the box office.
Well, they wouldn't have released it until like April if that were the case.
It would have been like a late August
Yeah.
or like January, February movie when no one like goes to see movies.
But yeah, I think it is important. Like the movie's getting a lot of bad press already. It's been being called like the worst movie of the year. It's
I
just
feel
like
like it's 50-50 though.
really.
I've heard different
I don't know.
things.
Joseph
I didn't
Gordon-Levitt
care for
and Seth
50-50.
Rogen.
Yeah.
Like the thing is like it's just being called the worst movie. It's not. It's just kind of a bad to mediocre movie. Max Landis, like fuck, you just write for the CW, man. Just get a job working on Arrow or The Flash.
Oh, he loved that.
You would
He
be
would write it home.
He did write a very good Superman.
Michael, shut up!
God, but I legitimately think he would make shows like that better.
Oh, he might.
He would improve those shows. Like, just don't. It's too. Biting off more than you can chew. It's too big for you, man. You're not ready. You just get better at this. Come back later. You're not ready to write your own movie.
This is a letter from Yesin.
It sucks because I mean that guy like Death of the Return of Superman I thought it was so good. It was like I wanted.
It is good. It's done.
And it's like I want this guy to succeed, and now I don't. I want him to go away and come back when he's ready to do this for real.
Well, go away, Max Landis. Yeah, we good? WolfPunch out.
Yeah. Michael, I feel
Fuck
like
off,
these are
Max
starting to
Landis.
become like a roast of you, like as this goes further along.
That's why I'm here.
You're just gonna like crap.
WolfPunch.